Evening, people. Welcome to BNR. We do normally go live at 5 or 6 o'clock, and when we do, it's normally a big breaking news, a big headline, and some information that we're reacting to. Sometimes we get a big journalist in at around 6 or 7 o'clock, but you have to make do with me today. There has been some developments in regards to Isak. Some would say it's a bigger development in terms of someone like Pletigol coming out and coming out with the news. Yeah, I know we're 6 minutes late. I do apologize. But when you're alone, you have to go on Instagram, you have to go on TikTok, you have to go on the BNR account, my account, and let everyone know. And then the WhatsApp messages and put the link in with in a few various groups. So I was here at 6:30. But I had to do all the formalities before I jump on screen. But welcome all. There's 228 of you already in the building. You know the house rules. There's only a few. You come in, you smash a like, you subscribe to the channel if you're new. And there's also now a BNR membership as well, which I did see someone become a new member of. Musab Musa Abdullahi. Thank you so much for your kindness and by heading over to the BNR Ultra membership, which is effectively a YouTube membership. There is the link that we've pinned. I hope head over. It's $4.99 a month, and we've got so much exclusive content to our members. And in the meantime, you get added to the BNR Ultra WhatsApp group where it's always popping off with messages and conversation and debate. It does get lively at times. I stay out of it, and I just read from a distance, but I do have an input in there as well. I like to, whatever I hear, any whispers I hear, I like to share it with the group as well. So head over to that community and show us your love and support that you've been showing us from day one since we started the channel. I can see people popping off all the Craig Hope quotations. I did see, and I've been trying to get Craig Hope onto the channel, but I think he's a bit busy at the moment. When he does have a time, maybe he gets back to Newcastle, I'll bring him on to BNR as well. So stay tuned for that. And then there's a few other people that we've got lined up as well. So worrying times, Jazzy is saying, I wouldn't worry, I wouldn't panic, I wouldn't be nervous. I'm still very, very confident that we get Alexander Isak over the line as well. But let's go over to those quotations that have been aggregated just in the last 5 minutes. Craig Hope, 4 minutes ago, if Newcastle can't get Benjamin Sesko or another big ticket number 9, then they won't sell Alexander Isak. All of my information is that an offer for Alexander Isak from Liverpool is due. I think there could be movement on that this week. Okay, so why are we worrying then? Why are you worrying? I would pin my hopes on this second quote that I read out just now. If we go by that, then remember what Ben Jacobs said to us a couple of days ago. Remember and remind yourselves what all the journalists, including the big journalist that's in the chat at the moment, in our very own blue chip, Avi, who I know has been acting like a bit of a clown at times in the last 3-4 days, but credit to him, he does get news. And I know I like to tease him as well. But joking aside, remind yourselves what they've been saying. Liverpool will not go and approach and knock on that Newcastle door blindly. They will not do it. And if Craig Hope, who we know is close to Newcastle, who is close to, and very, very on the point when it comes to Newcastle news this summer, he's come out with a few exclusives in the last 4 or 5 weeks which have been bang on the money. So if he's saying all my information that is an offer for Alexander Isak from Liverpool is due, then why are we worried about that if they don't get the big number 9? And also, what is the big ticket number 9? Where do you draw the line? Is Is Muniz not a big ticket number 9 for them? Is Visser, who I probably would say is not the number 9, um, because he's probably 28 as well. He'll probably be the replacement for Wilson. But Newcastle will have to understand that Isak is not training with them at the moment. He's mentally checked out of Newcastle. And I think mentally, Liverpool and Newcastle are just thinking at the moment, and this is just opinion only, is they will make sure they get those 2 number 9s. And that's where I'm at the moment. And all the people that I speak to behind the scenes are still quietly confident that Liverpool get this deal. And if Liverpool don't go blindly, if that is not the way that we do business, then why are Newcastle due a bid from Liverpool if Liverpool are one, not going to get the nod from the player or the Newcastle or any sort of encouragement? When do Liverpool make a move? And I think we all agree now that Liverpool have personal terms agreed. And when Fabrizio Romano tweeted that, to my understanding, and the Ultras got a bit of an update from me, but I can only say so much on camera. To my understanding, and that's how I'm gonna term it, is that that's no news. It wasn't new news because Alexander Isak said yes to Liverpool weeks ago. Weeks ago. So this new news from Pletico that Alexander Isak has agreed personal terms with Liverpool, to the big tier 1 journals covering world transfers, that's not big news. Is because he said yes to Liverpool weeks ago. So the personal terms are a given. This boxed off already weeks ago. And I keep repeating weeks ago. So it's all about Liverpool making that formal approach and formalizing their interest. Don't you think Newcastle don't know Isak has been in touch with Liverpool? And the official line, let's be honest, we can be open. We know Liverpool have talked to Isak, whether it's direct talks, whether it's through representatives, whatever it is. Isak will know what number he is going to be in terms of earning, what number in terms of wages, sorry. So all that is boxed off. What's left is Liverpool formalize that interest and then go to Newcastle and negotiate. There will be a back and forth between Liverpool and Newcastle. Newcastle might reject 1 or 2 bids. We don't know. But that is the current state of play with Alexander Isak. And Liverpool will need to make sure when they do pounce, and it's all about timing, when they do pounce, one, they don't piss off Newcastle. And to my understanding, again, the people that I've been talking to today, literally about an hour ago, is what I'm being told is Liverpool don't work like this. They won't, one, blindly make a bid, and they won't also want to piss off the club and get them angry and get them upset, because one, we're dealing with is proud Arabs, and also Liverpool don't do business like that. When they do business, although every club and every fan know that, look, this sort of shit goes down where clubs get in touch with the players first, box them off, and then go formalize that interest. Newcastle won't be pissed off with that. They do know that when that approach came, it turned their head. But I think Alexander Isak's head has been turned for a long, long time. And that was the official news, that the bid turned his head. Personally speaking, I don't believe that is the case. Liverpool have known that Alexander Isak wants to join them a long, long time ago. But Liverpool, in terms of club-to-club relationships, when that bid goes in, I think they do pride themselves with as ruthless negotiators, but also have respect towards the club in terms of finding their replacement. And what I've been talking about, and many content creators on the channel have been talking about, is this deal in principle behind the scenes. Whether you want to believe that or not, let's hypothetically say there is no deal in principle, but there's a recognition of the situation when Newcastle and Liverpool, and we're going to stick with Liverpool's perspective here, is we need to see some movement. That we know Newcastle are not taking him on tour. So there is a softening of stance, a softening, softening of stance from Newcastle, that this player, and they've accepted as well that this guy is going to go and play for Liverpool. And that's all he wants to do this season. So what do Liverpool need to do is give a bit of space to Newcastle and say, you know what, you go and get those signings in place, and they don't need to be officially over the line. I think Liverpool will wait and see, okay, are those deals in place? Are there agreements between the buying club, as in Newcastle, and the selling club? Maybe a Fulham in Muniz, maybe a Vissa in Brentford. Obviously, they're still in the race with Benjamin Sesko, but it looks like Man United have leapfrogged them and become favourites as things stand. So, look, you have to understand that is the finance side of it, that is the logistic side of it, but also in the narrative in terms of pissing off their fan base. Their fan base are on the verge of losing Alexander Isak. And they've also, and as Ben has many times said, when he tunes in into these Newcastle podcasts, the narrative has changed from he's not going anywhere. You go get Ekitike. Our first option was Ekitike to play with Isak. We've been through that. We've been past that stage as well. At the moment, there is a lot of animosity towards the player for refusing to train and refusing to go to on tour officially with his mates, and also towards the ownership. So what the ownership need to do is drip feed news one by one, step by step. And we've been talking about, if this bomber comes out straight away, the fans need to prepare themselves for the big eventuality. And I think they do know, like, it's obvious, the prize asset doesn't want to train with them. Obviously his head's in Liverpool. So I think what they also need to understand is, or need to get to the stage of bring these two deals to a stage where they advanced, and we can feed this new information to fans and bring them on side to an extent, saying, look, we didn't want to do this. He obviously wanted to be at Liverpool. We had no choice. We tried to even, get the news of, like, get some Saudi interest in there. We tried to flog him off to Saudi at one stage, but there wasn't nothing stopping Alexander Isak. But are we at a stage where they've tried their best in trying to bring established Premier League strikers? But because there won't be one striker who is capable in replacing Alexander Isak. Maybe Sesko in 3, 4, 5 years' time can develop into a proper Champions League, 30 Premier League goal striker. But he's really raw. And even though he is, classed as an A-lister of a striker when it comes to Craig Hope, but I think they have to understand they need bodies as well. So I think when it comes to Muniz, I think he's a good option. There's £40 million being talked about. I think it's a decent transfer. But at the moment, they cannot let Alexander Isak go in terms of the narrative, the message that it sends, that all of a sudden we don't have Wilson, we don't have Isak. And at the moment, we only have Solo or Sule, or whatever he's called, the kid that they bought from Sheffield United. He's the only recognized striker at the club. So imagine even having the Alexander Isak money, and they're struggling to get players right now. And never mind, even though they'll have the money, but I don't think the money and the bid, the numbers are a problem at the moment, because they do know that they're going to recoup that money when Alexander Isak becomes official and they receive the money from Liverpool. But I think they don't want the Alexander Isak money tax as well. So they're trying to avoid that. It makes business sense that to get those deals in place. I think the Vissa deal will go through. I think he's on strike at the moment. Brentford obviously have sold a few players. There's a massive dispute between the player and Brentford themselves. Vissa obviously believes that the club have gone against their word, but I think they want probably another £5-10 million. And once Newcastle put that on the table, it normally does the trick. So I think Vissa will get done. I don't think, if as things stand, I don't think Sesko will go to Newcastle, even though Craig Hope is saying that they're still in the race. But the feeling that he's getting from Newcastle, the Newcastle people that he's in touch with and his sources, is that there is a feeling that he goes to United. So if that is the case, then who is that striker? Is it Muniz for 40 million pounds from Fulham? Is it someone like Watkins from Aston Villa? How much would Watkins cost? Let me know in the chat. There was some talk about 40, 50 million pounds. There was some talks about 30, 35 million pounds as well. So look, I think Watkins, although he's not that age profile of someone like an Ekitike or someone like a Benjamin Sesko, but one thing that he does have ahead of Ekitike and Benjamin Sesko is he's a Premier League proven striker, and he's played for a big club in Aston Villa. He's played in the Champions League. So I think there's a lot of hunger from Watkins to prove that he is that kind of striker. And if I'm really honest, I think Watkins is not happy at Aston Villa trying to get money for him in January. Or the talk was, I think it was Jamie Carragher who came out with an exclusive bomber as well on Sky Sports. I think it was on the overlap, saying his people who do get news that there was talk, or he was told that Watkins got offered to Arsenal, and the only reason why it didn't happen is because Arsenal were looking around around 40 million pounds. So is he upset? Has he never got over the fact that he was dropped? With Rashford being ahead of him in big Champions League games. I think there's a bit of that. There's a bit of that, and I think he's never got over the fact that he was dropped in big Champions League games and big league games as well. So yeah, I think Newcastle would be a really, really good fit. Darwin Núñez is another really good fit. But maybe he's probably the fourth or fifth option for Newcastle, which I'm surprised about, which I'm really surprised about, because I think he would be a really good fit for around 55 million pounds for Newcastle. Yes, there's a case of Darwin Núñez being not the finisher that they require, but look, I think Watkins, is he a natural finisher? No. Has he got better over the years? Yes, I think he's been talking about, how Emery has made him into more of a box striker rather than just a guy who runs the channels. So, look, I think Darwin Núñez, I've been talking about it for a month or so, he really fits them down to a T. He is a transition striker. They play on the counter attack a lot of the time. They've got players who can feed him: Anthony Gordon, Bruno Guimaraes. He probably wouldn't need to worry about the creative technicians in midfield, because with the likes of Bruno Guimaraes and Tenali, they've got plenty of them. So, and they do like a ball in the box as well. So, let's see if they instigate some interest. I do think Liverpool are probably keeping Núñez at the club right now, and that's why maybe we haven't seen the links, come to the surface again, is because they don't want Darwin Núñez to leave, and then they don't have the Alexander Isak replacement as well. So maybe the links have dried up a bit, because they're just waiting to see what happens. As we know, there are no guarantees when it comes to transfers. And when you see that player sign, then we can all do cartwheels. Until then, you never know what's going to happen. Fire away with your questions, people. I'm only online for about 15-20 minutes. I want you to come online just to catch up with the day's proceedings, and then we're back tonight as well. Rehan's in the building. He asks, Asim, do you think Rodrigo Muniz is seen as the option for the big ticket number 9 that Craig Hope said? I think we have to look. He's not obviously Sesko, but if he's been talked about and Craig Hope has been given this number, it seems like they're obviously happy with him. And I think Muniz at 40 million, if they're at around 25 million pounds or around about 28 million pounds for Wissa, I think they want Wissa regardless. I really hope so. But I really think so. Has he got the ceiling of someone like Sesko? Is he the age profile of Sesko? No. But who is that profile then? Tell me. Because Ekitike has gone, Gyökeres has gone, Sesko is going to Man United. Who else is left there in Europe that is that age profile, who is the big ticket number 9. I can't think of anyone from the top of my head. I really don't. The chip is still in the building. He says, "Great show. Hello, Asim. Mafi." Come on, come on. Everything is all love between me and Avi. And you may see me go for him. Honestly, it's all banter. We talk to each other all day, every day on WhatsApp. And I'm telling you, our WhatsApp calls are a lot more boggle, if I may say so, than what we show you on camera. But we try to keep it natural as possible, and that's the way it should be. And this is the reason why I feel like so many people are, do like watching us as well, because we give you the breakdown, we give you the proper news, we give you the banter as well, and we give you the whole package. If I'm trying to blow our own trumpet here. So Chip is saying he's going to be back tonight. You'll see him back. Billy, oh my god, do you really expect me to read these numbers now, names? Come on the show yourself one day, star this message, and tell me where these. I think Walter Maid is one name I recognize. Stasin is another one. Gwasend, I checked with you a couple of weeks ago. Then I'm trying to, and then I'll be guessing. Then I'll be guessing, Bilal. But as ever, I told you, if I need to check something, a new player that I've not heard of, that I get given, that Liverpool have been scouting, there's only two people I probably go to, is Bilal and our very own Ash as well, who's always in the building. Big up to Ash, big up to Bilal, always supporting the channel and always engaging as well. The chipper says our WhatsApp calls our box office. Become a BNR Ultra on YouTube and become a BNR Premium on WhatsApp and get to listen into me, Cheen, and Avi's calls. Football Manager Database, 100%, man, 100%. Get fire it away with your questions, people. I'm probably live for another 7 to 8 minutes because I've come back from work. I've not eaten. I've got to go to the gym. And then come back to do another show around 10:30. Taylor, it says Muni's numbers per 90 are significantly better than Sesko. I do think Muniz, I'm telling you, I'm not going to lie, I don't watch a lot of Muniz. I've seen how many goals and everything he gets. I've seen some basic stats of his. But whenever he comes up with Liverpool, and there's been 3-4 strikers who always seem to do well against us. Now, there's so many occasions where nobody can get their head on the ball because Van Dijk wins everything. Ibu Kanate wins everything as well. But there's a few players who always give them, like a good workout. And those players are like Jimenez from even back in his Wolves days and Fulham days recently as well. Always seem to give a really good test for Ibu and Van Dijk. And I think Muniz is another one. And we saw that goal against Fulham when they beat us at Craven Cottage at the back end of last season. I know we were on the beach, but, he seems like a guy who can look after himself. And when you're playing in a 4-3-3, you have to have that certain quality to be able to receive and trap a ball and shrug off defenders. And in that sort of trait, or in those sort of characteristics as a player, Muniz does have, and he does have those poacher traits as well. So he is a good Premier League striker. There were people on Twitter, some big accounts, saying Muniz should be a striker at Liverpool as well. And although I thought he's probably not at that level where he could, lead the line at Liverpool, he's maybe a good option from on the bench for Liverpool. But if I'm really honest, with all due respect, I think he can lead the line at somewhere at someone like Newcastle. And Newcastle have to be realistic, and the fans need to be realistic as well, where they're not going to go get a like-for-like replacement, someone like Isak. Was Isak the world-class elite level when he came from Sociedad? No, he wasn't. So they have to go and rewind the clock and maybe start the process again And they probably try to do that in Ekitike and try to do that in Sesko as well, as get a good European striker who's shown their level in the Champions League, who's got around about 150 games at a league, good league level, something like what Liverpool have been trying to do, doing for the last, since FSG have come in. But Newcastle weren't trying to just poach a player that they just randomly saw pop up in the last 2-3 months in Ekitike. They've been monitoring Ekitike for a while, and maybe that is the level that they were looking at. Similar traits, but if they missed out on Ekitike, missed out on Sesko, they have to go someone. And like we just said, I don't see anyone at that sort of age profile who's played in the Champions League, who can probably do a job. And that's why I think maybe Wissa or Watkins or Wissa and Muniz is probably the next best thing. And Newcastle fans might not be happy with that. But at the end of the day, Liverpool, and despite where Man United are and where they finished last season, they're still Man United. And that attraction, whether we like it or not, is still there. And I was talking about these 2-3 players. Muniz is one of them. Evan Nilsson has done decent. Jimenez is another. Watkins is another decent player who has done well against us. So there are some really good Premier League strikers available to Newcastle, and maybe what they might need to compromise all this, what I'm going to say in the next couple of moments, is I don't know the finance side of football too well, but and I've read in and a lot of people are saying it in the chat as well, if Newcastle get this Alexander Isak money, it will allow them, in terms of how the book value and the PSR works, is allow them to spend 400 to 500 million pounds. So if they have to sacrifice the level and the quality in the striking department, then what that 400 and 500 million pound do is make sure they go big in other areas, in the defense, in the replacement for someone like Murphy. And I know they bought in Elanga and the Gordon, but maybe they just can get another midfielder in. Livramento is not tipped actually. There's some interest in Man City, but I don't think they will allow him to leave this summer. But they can go and get 2-3 quality additions, because let's not forget they're still in the Champions League, guys, and they can still attract 2-3 players. And I think they have been a bit unlucky in the striking department, because in Sesko, Ekitike, and Gyökeres, the whole of Europe and the whole of Premier League, especially the big clubs, were looking at them. And you have to be honest as a Newcastle fan, whether you've got, my sound is breaking up. Ooh. Is it better now? Hello? Let me know when it's okay to talk, people. It's fine now. My Wi-Fi is showing is 3 bars on the top right. Is it okay now? Yeah, it's fine now. Okay, thank you, Usman. Where were we? So we have to be honest as a Newcastle fan. If I'm in their shoes, that although we've got the Saudi money, although if Isak goes and we've got the 150 million pound, in our hands, we have to understand that the natural attraction of these clubs will be a lot better. So were they always going to lose out on these type of strikers? But I think they have to take some responsibility, and maybe that this is the reason why the level-headed, and there's a lot of them, let's be honest, the level-headed Newcastle fans are saying that we should have acted, we should have accepted that this guy's head is somewhere else. And the Alexander Isak message from his camp and his representatives is, I told you ages ago that this is my last year. So why didn't you prepare? Why didn't you go get a striker and try to leapfrog Man United, a leapfrog an Arsenal, a leapfrog a Liverpool even, who registered their interest in Ekitike a long time ago? But why didn't you go and leapfrog someone? Were you just trying to see out the situation? Were you trying to deflect the situation? Were you trying to avoid the reality of this summer that Alexander Isak is going to come and not going to is still gonna stay in? Someone's ringing me. 2 seconds, people. This might be important. This might be a bit of information for you guys. I won't be long. That wasn't what you wanted to hear. It's something completely different. But it was a person who I get news from. So apologies. It was just it wasn't an Isak bomber. We'll leave that to Chip tonight. So where were we? We got disturbed. Yeah. So I think Newcastle, although the narrative will try to be that he handed a transfer request in, he bullied us, he cornered us into a situation where we were left with no choice. But I think they have to take responsibility down to the fact that they didn't accept it early enough. And the moment that they tried to get Hugo Ekitike from our noses, the situation was too late. And these clubs from March onwards, or maybe in the last 4 or 5 weeks, um, took a stance and shortlisted 3 or 4 players in Ekitike and Gyökeres when it comes to Arsenal, and a few other players. And all of a sudden, they lost the race. So now they have to look at number 3, number 4, number 5 options. We've got, I think, another member, promo 5823. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Send me your please message me on the Twitter, and I'll send you the BNR Ultra WhatsApp link. Another member, Samuel Marasco. Thank you so much for becoming a BNR Ultra. Same again for you, Samuel. Send me a message on Twitter, and I'll send you the Ultra. Okay, people, I will leave it there. I know we didn't talk about the game. There was a game. Rio is a baller. Rio is the real deal. Rio is special. We will wax lyrical about Rio tonight. And as the chip says, guys, please like and subscribe. 20K by September would be a huge effort by you guys, and to be fair to us as well, and for the channel as a collective as well. But you guys never let us down. Please smash a like. Let us know what you think below the line after we've gone off air. Where do you think? Do you think Liverpool are going to bid this week? Craig Hope is expecting some movement. Do you think this week is all about Liverpool giving Newcastle a bit of space and then acting and coming in at the weekend or next week? But it's going to be fascinating. It's going to be intriguing. And the Alexander Isak, Fabrizio Romano said the story has not ended the moment we signed Hugo Ekitike. The story has not ended, and it's only developing, and it only keeps on going. But until tomorrow, not tomorrow, tonight, we'll talk more about Alexander Isak. We'll talk about the game, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care, everyone, and have a good evening. Bye for now.